You know, before I get into the meat of this video, there's a few things that I need to say up front that will, of course, serve as the intro to this masterpiece. And of course, you have seen the title. Now, last week, I received an email from one brother Obsidian. And he was asking me if I were following this Derrick Jaxn fiasco and how he had made the pivot to the role of being a black pastor. And I sent him an email back, and I chuckled, and I told him, yeah, I'm in the clouds and I'm watching. I'm also in my laboratory. And what I've noticed about this entire, I guess, shindig is when this news first hit, when this news first hit y'all's YouTube streets, I'm watching the videos that some of these sisters were producing. One in particular, who I screenshotted and took a screenshot rather of when she was talking about how the mistress was saying that Mr. Jaxn has big hands and he knows how to use his mouth. And this one particular YouTube content creator, I took a screenshot of her reaction. And the reason why I did that is because it is my contention, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that all of this selective outrage that you are hearing from black women is a bunch of hogwash. It's poppycock. And the reason why I say that is because black women want us to believe that they have a problem with cheaters. And I'm gonna prove to y'all in this video that that's bullshit. But of course, I got to tell y'all what's coming down the pipe. Now, y'all already know this is going to be the politically correct version of this. I'm going to give you an unedited, unscripted version in the whole. But what I'm going to also do is I'm going to share with you that screenshot. And then at that point, because I'm not going to say who the woman is. I'm not going to say her name here. But when you see her there, you'll know who it is. And I want y'all to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Because I'm going to prove to you that this is bull. All of this outrage, all of this I can't believe he's cheated, all of this crap that we are hearing from all of these women. And the content creator in question, after she made the video that I captured her reaction to what that mistress was saying, she has since made numerous videos trashing not only Derrick Jaxn, but black men, as they all have done. And again, I have to tell you, brothers, I mean, I've said this in many of my videos, y'all seem to believe that, you know, when they talk about this Jaxn character, that they're just talking about him. No, absolutely not. Did not tell y'all that the play they run is that they will look at one particular male's dysfunction and then they will paint the entire collective with that dysfunction. So instead of just saying, well, Derrick Jaxn is a cheater, he's no good, he can't be trusted, instead of them saying just that one brother who got caught up with these mistresses, no, they say black men. All of a sudden, the conversation is about black men. But it's not black men who run around with the t-shirt that say black men don't cheat. He did that. But instead of them just dealing with that single brother, that brother right there, they will take his dysfunction and they will paint the entire collective with that dysfunction. And that's the reason why one Cynthia G has made one of the most, we're going to deal with this later in the video. Cynthia G have said a lot of stuff. Very few of it I agree with. But she has said some stuff that just makes you shake your head and scratch your head. And when she done a video suggesting that black men are worshipped in the black community, I'm sitting there and I'm shaking my head. I'm like, man, what? The only black male in the black community who is worshipped as if he was a white man and will be forgiven for his indiscretions and cheating as if he were a white man. The only black man in the black community who will get that type of treatment is the black pastor. And that's the reason why y'all see one Derrick Jaxn making that pivot. We're going to deal with that in a minute, but first of all, you know what it is, second nature like breathing. If you want the rabbit hole production, I'm going to show you the YouTube content creator. I want you to see her reaction, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. You know what it is, second nature like breathing. You want to send me email, I'll get you the link. And I know y'all wondering, why can you say that black women aren't really, you don't take them serious with all of this selective outrage? Let me tell you something. And again, this is going to be one of my rants, because that's basically what these videos boil down to. I'll give you a politically correct rant, and then I'll give you the unscripted, unedited version of that in the whole. So we know how I do things. You know my method. But I find it hard to believe that you have black women, most of whom are historical side chicks, booty calls, and late night romps. We just got to be, look, we can't play with this, y'all. I mean, if y'all want me to give you this, then y'all going to have to accept some stuff. The majority of these sisters who you see on social media complaining about Derrick Jaxn being a cheater, you cannot trust their anger. Why? Because the majority of them are booty calls, late night romps, and side chicks anyway. And by definition, that means that you know you're dealing with a dude that either has a wife or a girlfriend. For you to be a side chick, you know this. For you to be a booty call, you know this. For you to be a late night romp, you know this. So we can't buy all of your anger that you have complaining about this Derrick Jaxn when many of y'all occupy those categories. And if you don't know if you occupy that category with the black man that you're dealing with, the holidays will tell you. The holidays will tell you where you rank in the pecking order. What do I mean? Listen, pick the holiday. Let's say Thanksgiving. You don't know where you stand with this dude that you've been bending over for. Well, Thanksgiving will tell you where you stand. How? Because he's not going to see you on Thanksgiving. He's going to be with his wife or his main chick on Thanksgiving. And if he sees you, it's going to be late at night after everybody that ate, everybody that had their seconds. The family then left and went home. He may be able to creep out and creep over your house and see you late. But because you're not the main chick, you're a side piece, you're a late night romp, or you are a booty call, you're going to get a few seconds of that holiday. The holiday will tell you where you rank in the pecking order. And a lot of you chicks still deal with these guys knowing that you are a side piece, a late night romp, and a booty call. So how the hell do you want me to take your anger for this cheating Derrick Jaxn serious? When I know full well that the majority of y'all would have been bouncing up and down off of his lap if given the opportunity. And I believe his wife knows that as well. That's why she looked the way she looked when they sat there. But I'm gonna deal with that in a whole. I'm not gonna really that gonna have to be addressed in a whole. But we'll deal with that later. So this selective outrage that these sisters have, and the majority of them occupy this rung of being late night romps, side chicks, booty calls. But yet they want us to believe that they're so angry and they're so upset over this guy who's cheating, and he's cheated on his wife, and I can't believe this, and they got all these videos. And I'm here to tell y'all, don't y'all believe that hype, man? Don't y'all believe that selective outrage from these sisters? You just can't sit back and buy that. And the reason why, again, if you're not thoroughly convinced by what I just told you, consider this. And I've done videos on this. I've done videos on it. You look at that literature, that whole, you go in Barnes and Noble, or you can check online, type in BWWM, romance, which is an acronym for Black Women, White Men Romance. Type that in the search engine and look at those titles of books that come up. Written by Black women, fantasizing about being what? A side piece to the boss, the white co-worker's mistress. I cheated with my boss. Oh, don't take my words on nothing I'm telling you. Type in your search engine, BWWM, Black Women, White Men Romance novels. Type that in there. When you look at all those novels that have been written by Black women glorifying what? Cheating. Hell, y'all took a sitcom and made it into a top-rated sitcom based off of what? An adulterous relationship. Scandal. And I know it's fictional and all that, but listen, at the end of the day, what wasn't Olivia Pope? Wasn't that white dude married when she was screwing with him? Now, I know y'all took that and twisted it and contorted it and made it into a love romance, but at the end of the day, it was adultery. Y'all love that. That turned y'all on. Y'all got wet. We cannot buy this selective outrage from these Black women making all these videos complaining about this dude when we know full well that half of those chicks, if given the opportunity, would have been bouncing up and down off of his lap just like those three mistresses. These are just the facts, y'all. And now that he has taken the pivot, because you notice now he's playing that religious piece now. And he's playing that role. See what he's done, what Derrick Jaxn has done. Derrick Jaxn has essentially borrowed the Black pastor's playbook. See, he borrowed the Black pastor's playbook. Now, he hasn't really studied that playbook. And the reason why I say he hasn't really studied the playbook is because Any black pastor will tell you you made some tactical mistakes. You didn't study your plays. Now, if you played football, and y'all know I love football, I love playing football, when you get your playbook, that's your responsibility to study that playbook. So when you're in practice and the coach says, let's run this particular play, and you're supposed to be in on that play, he's not going to check with you to make sure you know what you're supposed to do. He in his mind, he's thinking, look, you got a playbook. You should be studying your playbook. When I call this play, you should know I'm in on this play, and you should know what your assignment is. Now, if you stand lollygagging around on the sideline because you don't know that you're supposed to be in on this play, look, we'll get somebody else to do it. You got to study your playbook. And Derrick Jaxn, he borrowed the black pastor's playbook because the black pastor is the only black male in the black community who can cheat, manipulate, lie, steal, abuse black women, and be forgiven for it. As if he were a white man. That's the only person. So when Derrick Jaxn takes the black pastor's playbook and start trying to pivot to that direction, he made a tactical mistake by bringing his wife into the equation. And the reason why is because the black pastor will tell you, listen, dude, no, you don't do that. Not first. The initial arrows that you're going to have to take by yourself. You're going to have to stand up there and take those shots by yourself. But now, when you start making that pivot and start asking people to forgive you for your fuck up, it's at that point you bring your wife in. Why? Because then the vision, the imagery is, hell, if he told us he fucked up and his wife is still on his side, then if she forgives him, who am I to hold a grudge against this guy? But see, the only way you can play that is if you take those arrows first. He didn't do that. He brought her out the second day. No, dude, that's too soon. See, your wife, the pastor's wife, is like a third down slot receiver. See, they don't play on first down. They don't play on second down. They're on third down. And their goal is to move the chains to get us 4 more downs. So you bring her out later after you done took all the shots, all the abuse, all of the memes, everybody cracking on you. You take that by yourself. And then when you start asking people to forgive you, you call her out. See, the black pastor knows this. It's their playbook. And they've been playing this role with black women for years. That's the reason why when I hear a Cynthia G with this insane, completely illogical position that black men are worshiped in the black community. Where? Where, Cynthia, do you see this work? Well, I know where. The only place that you're going to see worship of a black male in the black community by colored women is in the black church. That's the only place that a black man going to be forgiven as if he were white. Because we know we all going to forgive that white man. We already got that. We understand that the white man can do no wrong in y'all's eyes. We got that. But now the only black man who's going to get that kind of consideration in the black community from black women is who? The black pastor. The biggest, say it with me, the biggest manipulator, exploiter, thief, deceiver, sexual abuser of black women in the black community is that black pastor. Nobody manipulates and mistreats black women more than that man in that pulpit. And yet and still, no matter what abuse that black preacher heaps upon black women, they forgive him. You better not talk about my pastor. I know my pastor is a thieving, no good, lying ass nigga, but guess what? He's my thieving, no good, lying ass nigga. You can't call him that. And that's the reason why they will fall out with you if you talk about their pastor. And that's the reason why you see Derrick Jaxn making that pivot, because he knows if I want forgiveness, I can't get it in this relationship lane. That's a wash. That's a wash, man. You're gonna forever be looked upon as a hypocrite if you stay in that relationship lane. You got to make a pivot. So what did he do? He goes grab the pastor playbook. Because when you come in that area, you are subjugated to what? Forgiveness. It's part of the Christian ethos to forgive. Why? And then you got your wife sitting here too, and your wife is willing to forgive you even though you'd have messed up, and I'm still standing next to my man. Then what it becomes is, well, if she forgives him, hell, I might as well forgive him too. But all of that selective outrage, all of these videos that y'all see these black women making about this dude, they would bounce up and down off of his lap if given the opportunity, and some of them still will, because they are historical side pieces, booty calls, and late night romps. They know they roll. They know they roll. Always the bride, never the bride. I mean, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They understand this. They got this. And I know there's going to be some of y'all. There's going to be some of y'all going to come back and say, wait a minute, man. Can you prove that? Yeah, I can prove it. Yeah, I can prove it. You want proof? You want me to give you proof? That no matter what this black pastor does to this black woman in the area of cheating and sexual abuse, she's willing to forgive him. And since she is willing to forgive this black pastor for his sexual indiscretions, we cannot buy her anger for Derrick Jaxn. Do y'all want me to give you examples? I'll give you 3 of them. We'll first call to the carpet Reverend Henry Lyons. Look him up. Don't take my words on nothing I'm telling you. Look him up. Reverend Henry Lyons. I've done videos on him. Lyons, I believe his name is not spelled like the animal. It was spelled Lyons, I believe. But look up Reverend Henry Lyons, who was the president of the National Baptist Convention. And y'all remember back in, I believe it was maybe early in the 90s, maybe the mid 90s, you had a rash of black church fires in the South. People were setting fire to black churches in the South. Well, the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, raised millions and millions of dollars to help rebuild these black churches. And they gave some of the money to Reverend Henry Lyons' organization to have him dole it out to these black churches so that those churches could rebuild. Well, Henry Lyons didn't do that. He took the money and he had a mansion built for him and his mistress. When his wife got wind of the mansion being built for him and his mistress, the wife went and burnt it down to the ground. Eventually, he was sent to prison. I'm not really sure if she went to prison. I know she was charged. I can't remember what really happened to her. You would look it up. It's not hard. Reverend Henry Lyons, president of the National Baptist Convention. When he got out of prison, what position do you think he ran for president of? You got it. The National Baptist Convention. They forgave him. They turned the other cheek. They turned a blind eye to his sexual indiscretions, and they forgave him. Jamal Bryant. Y'all know Jamal Bryant, this buck dancing, bojangling, step and fetch it Negro at the Black Lives Matter protests. He's always running his mouth. I believe it was, what was it? Was it Freddie Gray, in Baltimore when he was murdered or killed? Jamal Bryant, because at the time he was a pastor in Baltimore. He now pastors Eddie Long's church in Georgia. But while Jamal Bryant was at that church in Baltimore, he impregnated a young girl in his congregation. Look it up. Hey, listen, people, don't take my words on nothing I'm telling you, man. Prove me wrong. Jamal Bryant, the woman comes out and she tells the church, listen, the pastor is the father of my child. Jamal Bryant said, that bitch lying. He scratched that from the, well, hell, he might have said that. He's a black pastor. He said that woman lied. So the church say, oh, you know what? We're going to have a DNA test done. We're going to find out if you are the father of this baby. At that point, Jamal Bryant came back out and said, you know what? Maybe I did fuck up. Did they vote him out? Nope. Did they get rid of him? Nope. They forgave him. And his sexual indiscretion. Matter of fact, they criticized the woman more than they criticized him. Eddie Long, we already know what they did with Eddie Long. Eddie Long, after his, having sexual relations with those boys in his congregation, they crowned this dude a king. So Cynthia G, the only black man in the black community who's worshiped like this white man and will be forgiven like a white man, is the black pastor. So now if you want to say that the black pastor is worshiped in the black community, me and you will agree. Because I agree with you. But if you want to try to say black men are worshiped in the black community, that's insane. That's insane. And I know why you're saying it, but it's insane. It has no basis in, there's no basis in truth in this. And what you about to see happen with Derrick Jaxn, if he makes this pivot to the religious piece, is you're going to notice black women forgiving him in record number. Why? Because he has that look of a black pastor. As far as y'all concerned, the guy is a handsome looking guy. He looks nice in a suit and tie. He works out. He takes care of himself. This is the reason why that female that I'm going to show y'all in the hole, when that mistress, the first mistress came out and was talking about how big his hands are and how good he is with his mouth, she had a grin like the Grinch. Y'all remember that Dr. Seuss, when the Grinch smiled, when he finally figured out how he's going to stop Christmas from coming, and he had that big smile. That woman smiling, grinning from ear to ear. She was wet. Thinking about that. And that's the position of the majority of these black women that you see criticizing this brother, because at the end of the day, as quiet as it is kept, many of them would bounce up and down on his lap in a heartbeat if given the opportunity. You cannot believe this selective outrage. You can't believe it. And the only thing that they're mad about is it wasn't them. We can't believe this, man. We don't believe you need more people. We don't believe this crap. And we know that y'all have a proclivity for forgiving indiscretions and fuck-ups of black pastors. I mean, come on now, stop. As I told y'all, listen, I'm not telling y'all something y'all don't know. I'm telling y'all something y'all maybe not want to hear, but y'all know what I'm telling you is true. All these pro-black, back to Africa, red, black, and greens who spend their time complaining about what black men say about black women in YouTube videos look stupid when it comes down to the biggest manipulator, liar, thief, deceiver, exploiter of black women in the black community is that black preacher. Nobody even comes close. They run away with that just like that Usain Bolt looking back, smiling, taking a photo out as he leads the pack by 40 paces. That pastor is running to the finish line all by himself. There's not even nobody in the video frame. That's how far ahead of the pack he is. But for some odd reason, y'all give him a pass. Well, it ain't for some odd reason. We know why he gets a pass. Because again, ladies and gentlemen, he's supported by black women. And since he's supported by black women, they're not going to call that dude out. They're going to give him a pass. Because to call the black pastor out is to call her out. Because the black pastor and the black woman is connected at the hip. And he is the only black man or black male in the black community who will be forgiven as if he were a white man. His sexual indiscretions, everything, his fuck-ups will be swept under the rug as if he were a white man. The only male who gets that kind of consideration, Cynthia G., in the black community is the black pastor who's supported by y'all. That's the reason why I don't buy all this selective outrage, all this anger, all these videos, and I'm going to prove it to y'all. I'm going to sit it in your lap and you tell me if I'm wrong. This weekend's Rabbit Hole production, I'm going to let you see the YouTube content creator and her response. I got the still. I took a screenshot of it. I want you to see it. I'm going to give you my commentary on it, and I'm going to give you my unedited, unscripted commentary on this. You know this second nature like breathing. Email, I'll get you the link, because at the end of the day,